off. Welcome to day 3 of the Kids Chance National Conference. We're starting a little earlier today. It's 11 o'clock here, even earlier for those people on the West Coast, and bright and early for our Hawaiian contingent. So thank you all for joining us today. I hope everyone's enjoyed yesterday's track 1, building community. I thought the topics were pretty spot on and relevant, timely to this virtual environment that we're living in. Your feedback in the chat box is always welcome. So any comments at any time throughout the program, we'd love to have. Some housekeeping items. Linda, our tech coordinator, who I think most of you know by now, but anybody who's new joining the call, Linda is in the back end of things running. I call her mission control as we go through. She's going to be posting some messages in the chat box. I know we want to make sure that we have everybody's attendance today, so make sure that you let us know you're here by putting your name in the chat box. So today will be full of recognition, education, information, and I'm certain a bit of fun. We're going to start by honoring our history, acknowledging our present, and planning for the future. And remember, we're going to get some screenshots of everybody in their t-shirt immediately following the Clyatt Award presentation. Just saying so that you're prepared when we get there. We want to be sure our conference sponsors are recognized for their contribution to the success of the national conference. Without their support, it would be difficult to provide the national event as well as our ongoing educational programming throughout the year. On behalf of Kids Chance and all of our volunteers, I would like to thank the support and participation of our sponsors in this 2021 virtual conference. It looks like it's time for the student spotlight. And as many of you know who were on day 1 and day 2, we've got a series of student testimonials that we're sharing throughout the conference. Today, we'll not only hear from one of our student recipients, but we have a family joining as well. As you know, Bob Wilson has graciously assisted us with these interviews. So Bob, take it away.
Another student spotlight. Today we're featuring a scholarship recipient from the Kids Chance of Florida, Gabriela Garcia, and we happen to have her entire family with us. I can honestly tell you this is my favorite Kids Chance family. I've known them for a few years. Gabby, thank you very much for joining us today. I want to start off just by asking you to very quickly tell us, if you would, a little bit about what brought you to Kids Chance and a little bit about where you went to college and what your educational experience has been.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that brought me to Kids Chance. You know, number one being my family and my dream of becoming a physician one day. You know, all throughout middle school, all throughout high school, I had a you know, dream of being a doctor, and with a, you know, at the time, a 1-income family, that felt impossible. But I didn't let that crush my dreams. Okay, so in terms of schooling, I am honored to say I went to the University of Florida. I graduated last spring, May of 2020. With a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. I am currently on the pre-medical track. I am taking my gap year right now. I'm studying for the medical college admissions test, which is a big test. And I am planning to apply to medical school this upcoming cycle to matriculate in 2022. I do want to become a pediatrician. I, you know, went in college wanting to do orthopedics, but I did a lot of volunteer work with children throughout my undergrad. I did numerous medical service trips. I've gone to Peru, I've gone to Ecuador, you know, to help the low-income families in those third world countries, and we primarily focus on children. And I feel like that has definitely, built upon my passion for pediatrics. So that's where I'm heading.
This program has helped us tremendously, and I'm hoping one day my son Diego takes advantage, just like my daughter.
Okay, Diego, you're keeping your grades up in school, right?
Yeah, I am, but I'm really stressed because I have to take my first few FSAs next week. I think I have to take like what, 3 to 5.
I also want to give a big thank you to all the individuals who, came together and put together a very nice, big care package that I received last year. It was full of, anything you can think of: laundry detergent, candies, gift cards, anything a college student, might need. That really meant a lot. I don't think any, other organization that I have, been honored to be a part of has done anything like that I can remember. So again, I want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to everyone who took part of that.
I want to say thanks Second Chance Kids for help my daughter, and I appreciate and thank you.
Well, thank you to Gabby. Thank you to her family. Thank you to an upcoming student in Diego. It was great to have them with us today. Very inspirational. So appreciative of the family support. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Kids Chance of Florida. Now it's time for the Robert M. Clyatt Award presentation. Bob Clyatt founded the first Kids Chance organization in Valdosta, Georgia in 1988. Through his work, he witnessed the life-shattering impact a serious workplace injury could have on the children of seriously or fatally injured workers, especially financially, often leaving these children with little hope of advancing their education on the college or vocational level. Bob was honored in 2017 for his many contributions to Kids Chance with the inaugural Robert M. Clyatt Distinguished Service Award. He continues to work tirelessly on a national level to promote the Kids Chance community and goes above and beyond in the service of our most important legacy, our kids. Bob Clyatt, thank you for all you do. And let's give a round of applause. Bob's here with us today. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Bob.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Kevin Turner, Chief Executive Officer, Catastrophic Care Management at Paradigm. Kevin's also the past president of Kids Chance of America and has, I think, begun his own legacy here with the organization. I'm going to ask Kevin to introduce our Robert Clyatt Award recipient. Kevin?
Thanks, Vicki, and hello, everyone. I wrote this over a year ago, and unfortunately, we weren't able to bestow this honor on Bob last year, but it's an honor to do it this year. So for the past 22 years, Bob has embodied the mission of Kids Chance by committing himself to helping children affected by a parent's workers' compensation injury or death to secure needed financial assistance to advance the child's higher education. Bob's work and contributions cover both his home state of Missouri and its tenured Kids Chance organization, but moreover, the creation of Kids Chance of America, the driving force behind Robert Clyatt's vision and the strategy to reach more kids through the creation of a national network. It was Bob Keefe, Bob Clyatt, and others from Missouri working with Kids Chance of Georgia and a group of talented individuals from across the country that made Kids Chance of America possible. The foundation they worked so hard to establish is the foremost attribute permitting today's success, led by Bob's leadership, diplomacy, and both personal and business and financial contributions. Kids Chance of America has a history dating back to 1999 and its beginning path forward as a purely volunteer effort. In review, early goals focused on establishing a national coalition aimed at reaching more kids in need were absent sophisticated planning and infrastructure development plans common for for-profit businesses, as well as the lack of professional staff, which now supports Kids Chance mission today. The presentation of Bob Keefe as the Robert Clyatt Award recipient not only recognizes an individual who for over 2 decades gave himself and made possible our accomplishments, but by bestowing upon him its honor, memorializes and recognizes Kids Chance of America's rich history. Kids Chance of Missouri was created in September of 1995, and Bob became a board member in 1997, serving on its executive board for over 22 years. He has held positions, sometimes more than once, as president and treasurer. Bob remains active, attending and promoting Kids Chance of Missouri activities and offering strategic consulting, and remains a member of its executive board. Bob served on the Kids Chance of America board from inception in 1999 and continued until 2018, holding various positions and in various capacities. In 2011, Bob was instrumental in securing a large financial partnership to support Kids Chance of America. While Bob was a KCOA board member, his law firm supplied the equivalent of professional nonprofit executive director support, managing both the administrative and financial needs to the emerging organization. Until 2018, Bob's firm, through the support of a key employee, Peggy Hassler, managed all financial aspects of KCOA, including banking and investments. The cost of services, which spanned over a decade, were covered by Bob and his law firm, Keefe and Griffiths. Bob understood the new funding opportunity and its ability to move Kids Chance of America to a much needed professional management model and led the transition. There is no one-off shelf, step-by-step guide to forming a national nonprofit. Defining basic principles, presenting their pros and cons, capturing short as well as long-term views of decisions and their impacts, and most importantly, moving a diverse group to a common way of thinking takes critical thinking as well as charisma. Bob has both. Kids Chance of America is a state-up organization and not national down. Our prevailing position of state support, the revered value of the Council of States, and the forming of the basic principles was guided by Bob's input. Throughout countless Kids Chance of America board meetings spanning over nearly a decade, Bob elicited topics and guided key discussions that ultimately formed a path forward. In January of 2019, a group met to form and strategize around Kids Chance of America's strategic plan, with a founding theme based on defining and engaging the workers' compensation community. In February of 2012, some 7 years earlier, I met with Bob in his law office in St. Louis to discuss the general Kids Chance of America developmental thought in light of not previously available funds and infrastructure. While we discussed much, Bob's view of the workers' compensation community and its inclusion were important. The community included payers, carriers, employers, but more importantly, those that made the system work, including plaintiff and defense attorneys, councils, labor, service providers, regulators, state agencies, and more so educators, injured workers, and ultimately the kids we serve. His thoughts then permeate Kids Chance of America's thinking today, and from my view, are ever present in Kids Chance's ongoing plan to reach more kids through a broad community of stakeholders. Lastly, with admission that I lack all the details, formation of Kids Chance of America was clumsy at times, requiring tactical discussions regarding brand and trademark ownership, accountability, etc., between the originating states and the emerging Kids Chance of America. From my view, Bob Keefe was instrumental in cutting through the tactical and moving the narrative to the broader, greater cause. The effort likely involved behind-the-scenes discussions required to resolve differing views or merely to gain alignment, but regardless, without someone to manage the nuances, Kids Chance of America and its ability to achieve Bob Clyatt's vision would have been greatly hampered. On behalf of Kids Chance of America and its state members, it is an honor to present Bob with the 2020 Robert M. Clyatt Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Am I up?
You're up.
You're
You're
up,
on.
Bob.
First, I want to say what honors me most is that the speech that Kevin just gave contains so many of the exact same themes that I have. I'm honored to think that I'm on his wavelength because Kevin is miles ahead of me in 100 ways. So some of this stuff may sound a little bit duplicative. Some of it I'll try to edit on the fly. I don't know if lawyers are able to actually shorten speeches. We'll see. So, first, I have a story to tell you. There's this disheveled man in a theater draped across 3 seats. He's mumbling incoherently, and the nearby patrons tell him to sit up and be quiet. He doesn't respond. An usher appears, tells him he can't lie down in the theater. He only bought 1 seat. He can't have 3. Still no response. The manager is called. He very firmly tells the man that he's going to have to leave the theater, and the man mutters something nonsensical. So the manager calls a policeman who says to the man, "Hey, buddy, what's your name?" And the man mumbles, Kevin Turner. "Where are you from, Kevin?" "The balcony." That has no relevance to anything else I'm going to say, but I read it recently and it was just so funny. Anyway, did you ever notice life is lived, can only be understood looking backwards, but you have to live it forward. So by this time, I've lived pretty far forward, and I have a few rear view mirror thoughts about this award. And here's what the award is not. It is not given to reward a great idea, or dogged persistence, or longevity of effort, or management skills, or problem solving, and it's not even given for raising money. Those are all critical for our success, but the award is given for an entirely different reason. And if the organizers had wisely limited me to a 1 or 2 minute speech, I would tell you that right now, but they didn't, so I won't. First, a history lesson. 22 years ago, which was long after Bob Clyatt had his epiphany about educating children, and Doug McCoy, like John the Baptist, began spreading the word to other states, 2 people from Georgia and 2 from Missouri incorporated Kids Chance of America. It took 4 years before the very first group of friends from a dozen Kids Chance states met in a hotel conference room in St. Louis in 2003, hoping to bring some life to a national organization. There were reasons to do that. Fundraising from small organizations was very difficult, and we were told time and again, come back when you're grown up. And so that was the idea. So at first, the idea was vague and amorphous. It needed some refinement and nurturing, but the concept of a national group had legs. And so we met in Savannah and New Orleans and Phoenix and Baltimore and Charleston and Biloxi and Charleston and Atlanta and Philadelphia and Seattle and DC and Detroit and Sarasota. And now, having used up all of the important cities in the country, we are meeting in cyberspace. And I think this is either our 16th or 17th annual meeting. So this brainchild of a national organization grew and developed, but there were growing pains. There were misunderstandings and fights. There were turf wars. There were tantrums. There were awkward times. There were accusations. There, frankly, were existential challenges to the very trust that we needed to continue. And many of us, many times, began to wonder, is this even worth the effort? But it was. And so our little village survived because we each deemed our common goal to be more important than our individual grievances. Let me repeat that. Our common goal was more important than our individual grievances. The very fact that a Northern liberal, atheist, opinionated, slightly outspoken plaintiff's lawyer, that would be me, could become a longtime friend of a Southern conservative, self-effacing religious defense lawyer, that would be Bob Clyatt, is testimony to something kind of important. It's the power of putting aside small differences to work towards a compelling shared interest. That, of course, would be a very useful lesson for our entire country, but I digress. The reason that it takes a village to raise a child well is that no one person has the wisdom to do it by themselves. In the early years, our small group articulated values and basic principles, but as our young organization matured, it required a little bit more than just gauzy philosophical pronouncements, which happened to be my specialty. It needed plans and procedures and know-how and resources. It needed more specialized knowledge than our founding group could really provide. Kids Chance of America had to learn how to raise money and network and coordinate with other organizations, use social media to spread our message, and most important, search out more talent to move us forward. Kids Chance of America needed the likes of Vicki and Kevin and John and Suzanne and Ann and Kimberly and Ken and so many others whom I think of as our organizational PhDs. I can speak for Bob and Doug and many others who are there at the beginning, including Nancy, when I say I couldn't be more satisfied with those in charge or more confident about the future. So it's been more than 20 years since the ideological birth of this national alliance. It has grown under the watchful eyes of our village, and each one of us brought our bit of wisdom and wealth and work to this wonderful project. And funny, our little village grew to be a town, and then a city, and now a nation. Thousands of people across the country plan and run fundraisers, send out newsletters, solicit donations, do legal and accounting work, attend meetings, set policy, protect this precious brand, do long-term planning, and importantly, they bring others into the village. And what we do is we find kids, we vet applications, and ultimately we spend millions of dollars to send thousands of kids to school. Isn't it sublime to be part of something bigger than yourself, something this noble? So here's what the Bob Clyatt Award is about. This is an annual recognition of the Kids Chance Village, and it pats us all on the back. More importantly, it exhorts us to work for the commonweal, to take care of others, to think of people besides ourselves. The award reminds us of what we can accomplish when we work together to make our society better by educating kids. And here's the most astounding thing to me. 10,000 hours of work every single year across 48 states is done by hundreds and perhaps thousands of volunteers for no pay, in addition to the millions of dollars in donations. But beware, let's never dishonor that work or those contributions by spending $1 more than necessary for administration. So with so much nationwide selflessness in this organization, somehow I deserve an award? Hardly. This award belongs to our village, and I will hold it in trust until we next meet, hopefully in the flesh, to remind ourselves of the good we do when we unite toward a noble goal. Kids Chance of America has much to teach America at large and those who govern it. In our small way, we can show those around us all across the country just how satisfying it is to work together and how useless it is to focus on unimportant differences. Now, if Kevin has revived from his balcony fall, I will finish up. I am not here to thank anybody because I'm here to thank everybody. Here's the Kids Chance villagers who work together to create more money for more kids. Thank you so very much.
Fabulous, fabulous.
That was wonderful, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. You are an inspiration to me. It was easy to write.
Well, I appreciate that. That was just wonderful. I can't imagine anybody doing a better speech than that. That was tremendous.
Well, I'm going to send it to you and you give it a try and see how it goes.
Okay, I would appreciate that. I would appreciate you sending it to me.
Oh, gosh, anybody that wants to put some comments back to Bob Keefe in the chat room, be certainly feel free to do so. Bob, thank you very much for what I knew would be an unforgettable delivery. Thank you for your words of wisdom and all of your encouragement to the villagers who are here with us today. I appreciate it. I miss you. I miss working with you every day.
As soon as I can get on a plane, I'm coming to Boston.
I'm here, please.
I went to
let me
college
know.
there, and it would be wonderful to come back and see Boston.
I would love to see you. I've got tears in my eyes.